Hello friends, Marcy here, and I am going to come back and ink up this pen that I recently shared with you on an unboxing and first impressions. And this is the Esterbrook Camden in, let's see, rose. Okay, and so this came as a set. They are available for purchase individually, and I shared much more detail in a previous video. But okay, this is the fountain pen. I wasn't sure which one was which because they're both just identical on the outside. So anyway, so fountain pen we will ink up, and this one is the Rollerball. I have not given that a writing test yet, but we will today. So for just quick, put some ink down on paper. All right, this is a gorgeous rose, or it's almost like a champagne finish, but as shared before, if you can see the grain in there, it is designed to resemble the grooves of a record, since it was from Camden, New Jersey. And I'm just going to pull out real quick my converter that was included. And ooh, I got some static electricity. And it does say have the Esterbrook name around this silver band on the converter. So let's get inside here and I'll show you my ink choice. Oh, and I do want to rinse this nib. The last time I rinsed a nib, because I often forget to do it, it's just like I don't remember to do that little job. But the last time I rinsed a nib, I pulled the water using the converter. I pulled the water up through the nib, which brought the ink into the converter, and that's not necessary. I don't need to do that. So I'm going to put that aside and just bring some water and my bulb syringe here. Pull up some water. I'm just going to rinse the nib and nib feed and not pull the water up through the converter as I did last time. There's no reason to do that because that gave me another thing to clean. I was not only flushing the nib, but I was also then flushing the converter that I had pulled the ink up through from the factory test. So there we go. Good to go. And you know, it's good to moisten the nib. I think it doesn't take as long for your ink to gravity feed down if you're just syringe filling your converter. So, but if you're filling from the bottle, that's not an issue. Just dab off a little extra water here. All right, and put this together, and I'll show you my considerations for ink today. Even though I have already, prior to this video, made my decision, I was looking at Robert Oster. I love Robert Oster's inks. And I have Rose Gold Antiqua and Rose Gilt Tynte. And if we look at the bottom of the bottle where you can see the shimmers, this has more of a copper, because it's the rose gold. It has more of a copper shimmer. And this one is a gorgeous rose color that I think goes well with the body of this pen. So we're going to choose this one. And just to let you know, I already have this ink in a pen. And I don't like to ink different pens at the same time with the same ink, but you'll understand when you see this one. This is my Rose Gold Kaweco AL Sport. It does have, let me bring over some paper and show you. It does have the Rose Gilt Tynte. And this one is extra fine nib. It is a steel nib. And I'm a matchy, you know. I love from the body of my pen, when I look at the body, I can choose know what ink family I'm choosing as I want to write. So this is our Robert Oster, or Oster. For me, it's Oster because of, you know, the appliances from years ago. Rose Gilt Tint, and I will add that gorgeous ink to our new rose pen. And we'll come back and do a writing sample comparison here, but I need to disperse some of my shimmer, some of the particulates that have settled. I don't want my nib to fall. We know what that's like, because I think if you were with me, you saw my nib after my little Opus 88 mini fell. I bent the nib and had to replace that one, but I don't want to shake too vigorously because I don't want to cause bubbles in my ink, because I don't want any of that going into my converter or into my nib feed. Wow, that sediment is really down there. It's packed. I guess it's like a wine bottle. If you have your wine bottles laying on a shelf, you need to turn them ever so often. And so I had to give this a vigorous shake to get that packed settlement down. So see, I have some, I don't know if you can see the bubbles there. But I do not want those at the top of my bottle when I'm filling. So I'll just do a slow turn, and we'll get ready with our paper towel. Oh, and while I'm waiting for my bubbles to settle here, I can tell you I have another pen that's in that rose family. And I'm thinking of changing out my Pilot Decimo Vanishing Point. This is the click pen. That's in my everyday carry, my Hobonichi Weeks and my Galen leather cover. Thinking about changing out for either the fountain pen or possibly the ballpoint or the rollerball. We'll see what happens. But again, another pen in that gorgeous rose family that I just adore. All right, let's get back to the task at hand. Let's get into this bottle. Draw up some ink. I think I may have to move my camera angle back a little for visual. Let's see, maybe not if I reach around. All right, I do need my plunger down all the way and breather hole here. So okay, that's a pretty good fill, but as you can see, I did draw up some air bubbles in that. So I'm going to expel and try one more time. So I really do not want those in there. And this one happens to be a much better fill. Okay, so I'm going to wipe away the grip section here. Not that I mind wearing ink, because I do it quite often. We put our pen together and put some ink down on paper. All right. So I just need to take a break or a thinking moment and cap my bottle of ink before I have a nasty spill. There we go. All right. So this is the Esterbrook Camden Rose, and it is a fine nib. Are we close enough to get the gorgeousness? And again, the Robert Oster. So I'm gonna have to add this to my ink swatch / pen inventory their pen usage journal. Because when I ink a new pen with the same ink, I like to record it so that I can keep a record of what inks were used and how they performed in different pens. All right, and today is February. This ink is so pretty. Actually, it performs better in the Camden than in the Kaweco. And I guess that has to do with the line width. I didn't do a line width test with that one. We'll have to compare. Keeps up. I was wondering about having a fine nib and the particulates, if it would keep up with the flow, but we're doing well. So we'll look at that. Let me bring in the Kaweco real quick for, I forget, on the Esterbrook you have to give it a little push to get your seal started. All right, so, and this one again is not apples to apples. This is extra fine nib and the Camden is fine, but they look very similar. Oh no, they don't. Side by side I can see the difference. And for me, not on camera, but for me in clear vision, this has more of a bronze rose and this has more of a pink rose. And I think that's just the amount of color that's allowed to come through the nib and the nib feed. But gorgeous, gorgeous performance in either pen, both pens. So again, this is the Kaweco. And I love the sound of metal. So these are fabulous. And this is the Camden. Oops. All right. So we have inked our Esterbrook Camden. And the Robert Oster. Rose gold. Is that going to be in front? Yep. Rose Gilt Tynte. And I'm loving that. So let me move this aside and let's take off the little ball from, this also has the same seal that pops. You have to push to seal, so it will keep your ink from drying out. Remove the little gel ball there. And nice. Yes, this it's a nice ink. And it dries quickly too on the Rhodia dot paper. So that'll perform nicely because I have the Hobonichi Weeks, which has the Tomoe River paper in it, and I think I'm going to enjoy carrying this for a bit, just for a trial. I have to do that and come back and let you know how that worked out. So thank you for joining me today as we ink up our new Esterbrook Camden Rose. You have a blessed day. Bye-bye. Okay, real quick, I thought I would just lay down the ink line with my everyday carry from my weeks on the Pilot Decimo and show you this is the extra fine and compared to the line width on the Esterbrook Rollerball. So there we go. And this ink is a little more wet. It takes longer to dry. So that's another reason that's like, oh, okay, I don't have to wait so long for my ink to dry here.